So, the NBA regular season is starting very soon, so I thought I'd give my predictions. I'm going to do standings and then awards. So, starting in the West with the standings, I don't want to spend too long, but number one seed, I think the Jazz. I think they're built for the regular season. They're going to be great defensively with Gobert, and they're going to shoot a ton of threes offensively. They have the home court advantage, so they're my number one. Number two, the Lakers. I think they have the star power. They have Russell Westbrook and LeBron. They'll be able to stagger them. And I think, after last year where, they had a few injuries and they dropped into the play-in, I think they might take it a bit more seriously. So I could see them definitely being a top three seed. I'm going to go number two. Number three, the Suns. They're good in the regular season last year. I think they'll be a solid two-way team. Maybe there is some worry with Chris Paul aging, but I think they have Booker, they have Bridges, they have Ayton. They have some okay role players between Crowder, Cam Johnson, Campaign, and they had a lot of a confidence boost making it to the finals. So I'm going to say Suns 3. Number 4, this is where maybe it gets a bit more interesting. I'm actually going to go with the Nuggets, which could be a bit of a surprise pick, but I think they have Jokic, who is guaranteed to play a lot of games at a very good level. They have Michael Porter Jr., who I see taking a leap without Jamal Murray in the scoring. And then after that, they have Aaron Gordon, who's a solid player. They have Will Barton, who's a solid player. They have decent depth with Monte Morris. They have Campazzo. They have a lot of solid players around Jokic and Porter, who I think are going to do very well. And they also added Jeff Green, which could be a good addition. And then I think there's the potential of Jamal Murray coming back late in the season. But I think I could see the Nuggets really doing well. They also have that home court with the elevation, so I'm going to have them as the 4 seed. At the 5 seed, I have the Mavs. They have Luka, who, if he stays healthy, is guaranteed at least making the playoffs. Add to that maybe a healthy Porzingis who could start producing. Some decent other guards in Tim Hardaway Jr. and Jalen Brunson. Lots of bigs, lots of depth at the big position with guys like Dwight Powell, Maxi Kleber, Dorian Finney-Smith, who's a good 3-and-D guy. And yeah, even with Jason Kidd's coaching, who, maybe it's not as bad as people are saying and it's a breath of fresh air. I think with Luka, at least, he's still very young. He's a star player. I'd say they're going to be the 5 seed. At the 6 seed, the Blazers. They have Dame, they have CJ, they have Powell. I think they're going to be good offensively, that's for sure. And then you'd hope they could just sneak into average defensively with Nurkic, with Covington, with Larry Nance Jr. They've also, they're always consistently around the 6 seed, so I don't see why this year will be too different. 7 seed, the Warriors. I think maybe this is probably a bit lower than people expected. The reason I'm saying that is because, first of all, Clay needs to come back. He probably won't be back till Christmas, and after that, it'll take some time for him to bed in. They also still have a lot of young guys with Wiseman and the 2 rookies, Kuminga and Moody, who could be good, but they're also rookies, and it could take some time for them to adjust. I think Steph is obviously amazing, but there is a chance that he does get injured and he does miss some games. So, I'm just going to be a bit more conservative with the Warriors. I think when they're fully healthy and with the rookies having some time to adjust, they could be a real threat in the playoffs, but I'm going to have them down at the 7th seed. Then 8, Clippers. They don't have Kawhi, but they do have Paul George, who, as the number 1 option, could do well. They have a lot of depth and players who can contribute. Marcus Morris, Reggie Jackson, Eric Bledsoe, Terrence Mann, Zubac. And I think, they have potential to be a solid offensive and defensive team. So I have them at number 8. Then the Grizzlies, lots of depth, hopefully a healthy Jaren Jackson Jr., John Morant, who is pretty amazing. And then, again, they're going to be good defensively. They got Steven Adams. They play really hard. I could honestly see the Grizzlies being higher, maybe over the Clippers even. They have a lot of depth. Everyone they play is a good NBA player. They always do well in terms of turnovers, rebounding, that sort of thing. And I think Taylor Jenkins is a really good coach. They're going to get the low-hanging fruit, and I think they'll definitely be in the play-in. And then the last spot, this was pretty tough. You know, you obviously have the Pelicans, the Kings, the Spurs. I'm going to go with the T-Wolves. I think, hopefully they're healthy. Karl Anthony Towns, who's been through a lot, but is still a great talent. D'Angelo Russell, who can give you some scoring. Same thing for Malik Beasley. And then Anthony Edwards, who could make a big jump in his second year, and I think might be not being talked about enough. So, yeah, I'm going to go with the Wolves. They also added Patrick Beverley, which maybe could help them defensively. That's obviously been a big problem, but you think a profile where they're 14th offensively and 22nd defensively, and they just sneak into the 10 seed. Plus, I'm not super sold. Pelicans, Zion is already hurt. Kings, they're always terrible defensively. Spurs, maybe they could have sneak in, but yeah, I'm going to go with the T-Wolves. Okay, next to the East, number 1 seed, the Bucks. They're going to take the regular season health seriously. They're going to be healthy, I would assume. They have Giannis, number 1 seed. Number 2, the Nets, super talented. KD, Harden, lots of depth. Patty Mills, Blake Griffin, Joe Harris, all those guys. But the Kyrie situation still looms over them, and if he's not playing, then that's definitely a loss for him. I also think they'll prioritize health over a regular season record. Number 3, the Hawks. Again, they have a lot of depth, and they're young, which, hopefully they can stay healthy. Trae Young, very exciting player. And then, a ton of guys like Bogdanovic, Collins, Capella, Hunter, Herder, Reddish, Gallinari. They just have, 2 or 3 guys who can play in every position. They're never going to turn out a bad NBA player. Lots of depth, lots of shooting, exciting offensive team. And they were really good under Nate McMillan last year. So I'm going to have them at the 3 seed. Sixers at the 4 seed. Obviously, the Ben Simmons situation is still unresolved, but assuming they get at least something for him, whether it's him coming back or whether it's them trading him for something, they still have Embiid, who, even though he's injury prone, when he is playing, he's going to help them out defensively a lot. And then they have Tobias Harris, who's going to put in 20 points a game. They have Maxey, who could break out. They have Thibault, who's a good defender. They have Danny Green, who's a solid player. They're the number 1 seed last year, so I think they'll have enough to be a top 4 seed this year. Celtics next. Brown, Tatum, lots of improvements this offseason between getting Schroeder, getting Richardson, getting Horford, adding some depth, adding some defense. They should be a top 10 defense and a solid offense, and that means they're pretty good most of the time. And then the Heat, maybe a bit low at the 6th seed. I do like the Heat, but one thing that concerns me is they're older. Lowry, Butler, both a bit older, especially Lowry. Also, their depth is sort of not great. After the big 3, you have Robinson, you have Hero, you have Tucker, and then you have Oladipo, who might not be healthy. You're getting to guys like Gabe Vincent and KZ Okpala. So, yeah, I think the Heat will be a tough team to play in the playoffs with their defense, but I'm a bit lower on them for the regular season. At the 7th seed, the Knicks. They were the 4 seed last year. They added Kemba Walker and Evan Fournier. I think they'll be worse defensively. I think they'll be a bit better offensively. I think the East got better around them. All of that probably equates to them being the 7th seed. I think, I probably have to justify why they're this high. And I think, they're going to play hard on every single night under Tibbs. And, they have enough offensive creation and enough defensive fundamentals and effort to be decent on both ends of the court, I think. At the 8th seed, I'm going with the Raptors. My main reason is I think they're going to be good defensively, and I think Nick Nurse is a great coach. After that, offensively, they're missing Siakam for a bit, which hurts, but you have Van Fleet there. You have Trent and Dragic, who can hopefully provide some scoring. You have OG Anunoby, who could take a leap. I think they have a lot of long, switchy players who can cause offensive problems. They're going to be creative, and they're back at home. 9 seed, the Bulls. Obviously added Lonzo and DeRozan, added Vucevic at the trade deadline. I think they could be electric offensively with Levine and the spacing, but I think they could definitely struggle defensively. I know they have Lonzo, I know they have Caruso, I know they have Patrick Williams, but they're going to be playing Vucevic and DeRozan and Levine, all heavy minutes, who are all below average defenders, and that could be tough to overcome. So I still think they'll be in the play-in, but I'm going at the 9 seed. And then the Pacers at the 10 seed, a sore between them, Hornets, Wizards. I'm not 100% sold on any of these teams, but I think the Pacers, under Rick Carlisle, Brogdon, Sabonis, they have the most potential to just be solid and around the 10 seed. So yeah, that's my Eastern Conference predictions. And now if we go to awards, starting with MVP, my pick for MVP is Giannis. I said because he's going to be healthy. The Bucks are a good team. He puts up great stats, and I think he's liked from the media, and he has the media narrative to get it. If not him, Luka or Curry. Defensive Player of the Year, I'm going to go with Gobert. Kind of boring, but all the defensive metrics say he should win it. He is so impactful on that end, even though it doesn't totally translate to the playoffs. If not him, and the voters are sort of sick of him, I think Giannis and Bam both have decent cases. Most improved player, I'm going to go with Keldon Johnson. Maybe a bit of an outside pick, but I think lots of shots available on the Spurs, and just how he attacks the rim, and if he adds the jump shot, or maybe becomes more of a playmaker, I think there's lots of potential with Keldon Johnson, and I'm going to have him for most improved. If not him, I think OG Anunoby is a possible pick, a popular pick, and yeah, I can definitely see it. I just didn't want to pick him because everyone else is, I feel like. And then DeAndre Hunter, because I also think he has a lot of potential in a similar mold to OG, whereas a 3-and-D guy who could be adding more to his game. Sixth Man of the Year, probably the award I'm least confident about picking. I'm going to say Tyler Hero. I think he'll have a big role off the Heat bench, and he's played very well in the preseason. If not him, Joe Ingles or Jordan Clarkson from the Jazz is a good pick. Probably more Ingles, great shooter, great playmaker. Or maybe Jalen Brunson from the Mavs, who can give you something as a backup point guard, a good playmaker, solid pick and roll player, creative player at his size. I could see Brunson winning it. Coach of the Year, I'm not really sold on anyone. It's obviously tough to predict because it's going to depend on record. I said maybe Quinn Snyder of the Jazz, maybe Nick McMillan of the Hawks, because I could see the Hawks being good, or just Mike Budenholzer, who will lead the Bucks to a very good record and is coming off a championship. And then finally, Rookie of the Year, I've gone with Jalen Green because I think he'll take the most shots, and if he averages 18 points a game, and it doesn't really matter how good the Rockets are or anything like that, I think he'll get it. If not him, Scotty Barnes on the Raptors. If they want sort of like a Halliburton style guy who contributes to winning and is a good defender, or Cade Cunningham, of course, number 1 overall pick. I could see any of those 3 winning it. So yeah, those are my predictions for the 2021-22 NBA season. They're not going to age well, but right now I'm feeling pretty good about them. But anyways, thanks for watching. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys next time.